I am so pleased that we are coming finally into spring. I'm excited and delighted to be reading so many good books in the upcoming months. I'm gonna make a little springtime bookmark. We can have matching bookmarks for spring and summer. Hello friends, welcome here or welcome back to another video. I am so pleased that we are coming finally into spring, and this whole video today is going to be preparing for spring together. And what better way to start the video than with a good old-fashioned spring clean. So I hope you've enjoyed a little montage of footage of me scrubbing away at the flat this morning. I have to say that the flat feels so much fresher and cleaner now, and I feel so ready to take on the rest of the year. In my mind, somehow the year doesn't really feel like it starts until spring, and I think it's because the world just feels like it's waking up finally. You're starting to see leaves come back on the trees, starting to see some flowers pop up. It just feels like everything is coming back to life. So it's actually quite a lovely day today. I can see some blue sky out the window right now, and I have in mind that we are just going to spend the day together getting ready for the upcoming season of spring. We've already done some cleaning, and in the rest of the video I want to talk to you about my spring TBR, which is so very conveniently to my side here. We're going to hopefully do a fun little craft and get out into this beautiful sunshine very shortly. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and get cozy, grab yourself a drink of choice, and let's just hang out for a few minutes. So the first thing I think we should discuss is what I'm going to be reading for the next few weeks. This is something that I look forward to doing every single season. I'm somewhat of a seasonal reader. I love to almost make myself a playlist of books, of things to look forward to for the upcoming season. So I want to start off with the books that I am currently reading, and the first one I am reading on audiobook, and that is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Now this is such a classic. I feel like everybody reads Austen during springtime, and there's a reason for it, because she just seems to have this wit and life about her writing that I think is so wonderful and whimsical. It's romantic, it's joyful, and it's so full of life. and that's exactly what I'm craving at this time of year. However, I have struggled with actually like sitting down and reading Jane Austen and many other classics, to be honest. But whenever I see like a film adaptation or a TV adaptation, I'm just drawn in, and I have no difficulty understanding the language when it's spoken to me, but for some reason reading it off the page has always felt quite difficult for me. So this audiobook has been an absolute revelation for me. I'm listening to the one that's narrated by Juliet Stevenson, and I am having such a delightful time reading it. It is so comedic, it completely pulls you into the story, and I am having the best time reading that. It's such a good time, and I would so highly recommend, if you've always wanted to read Jane Austen but you found the language to be a little bit of a barrier, try the audiobooks, because this has genuinely changed the game for me. The other book that I am currently reading is like, could not be more different really, and I'm actually currently filming a reading vlog for this. That will be the next video to come out on my channel, and that is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Now this isn't a conventional spring read, if you will. The atmosphere that's being created in this book is not spring-like at all. It's quite depressing and grey and gloomy, but I am loving it so far. I'm not going to go into too much detail, as I say, because I am filming a reading vlog for this, but I'm about 170 pages in, and I am loving this high fantasy book. It's the first book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, and I've not really read anything by this author before, so I'm having a great time so far, and I'm loving getting to know about the magic system and the characters and everything that's involved with this. And I feel like so many of you will have already read this, so I hope you're excited to see what I think of this book, and we can talk about this book very soon, I hope, in the comments section. And those are the two books that I am currently reading and loving and just having a great time with. I also have a couple of books either out of the library at the moment or books that are on order that I'm hoping to read in the next few weeks. So the first of those books is Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. I have not heard pretty much anything about this book. Maybe I've just been living under a rock, but I saw it in the library. I was totally pulled in by the cover. I think it's beautiful, and the premise of the story just sounds so intriguing to me. So this is a book that I want to say is based on South Asian mythology. It's based on folklore around water creatures and also dragons. Say less. In this world, it appears that there are two very distinct groups. There are the kind of ocean folk, the folkloric creatures, and there are the humans. The Fathom folk, who are the kind of ocean creatures, are these slightly downtrodden creatures, I think, and they are forced to live in the polluted waters of the city. And Mira, our protagonist, is a half siren, and so it's kind of up to her to try and bridge the gap and help her people to thrive. But it seems that a spanner is thrown in the works, so to speak, when a dragon princess is exiled to the city and causes a lot of unrest, and extremists kind of sabotage the city and create a lot of violence, which then in turn means that the city kind of clamps down on the Fathom folk once more. And it's up to these two characters to decide what to do and what kind of sacrifice they're willing to make for the good of their people. I feel like I've not done a great job of explaining this book, probably because I haven't read it yet, but I am really looking forward to reading this and getting stuck into a new fantasy world. And then in terms of the two books which I've placed reservations for, but I'm waiting for them to be returned to the collection, we have The Teller of Small Fortunes, which I know has been doing the rounds. It seems to be really popular, cozy fantasy read. This seems to be about found family, about this girl who is a teller of small fortunes. So she goes around and she tells people's fortunes. And yeah, I think it's just a sense of her finding her place in the world, a sense of finding community, and I always crave cozy fantasy, whatever time of year, and this one seems to be doing the rounds at the moment, so I'm very intrigued. And then staying on course with more cozy fantasy reading, I want to read the third installment of India Halton's series. India Halton wrote the Mysterious Society of Lady Scoundrels and The League of Gentlemen Witches, and I enjoyed both of those books. The books are set in like this alternative Regency England era where there are witches and pirates, and it is just bombastic and bananas and crazy and whimsical and delightful, and I really enjoyed the other two books. And so I have the third book in this series called The Secret Service of Tea and Treason, and I'm very much looking forward to reading that. I feel like it might have a bit of the Cinderella trope in there. I don't know, I'm very intrigued and I'm looking forward to it because I always think they're such quick, easy, delightful reads, and I love a Regency era setting, especially in the spring and summertime. So those are the books that I'm hoping to get out of the library in the upcoming season, and that leaves us with 3 remaining books that I already have in my possession. The next book I'm going to talk about is going to come as absolutely no surprise to anybody that's watched my videos recently, and that is because it's the 3rd installment of A Court of Thorns and Roses. The 3rd installment in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J Maas, and that is A Court of Wings and Ruin. I'm not going to explain what this is about. I think you all know what this is about. Lots of fairies, lots of girly pops having fun times, lots of strange mysterious men, probably lots of spice. I feel like it's going to get spicier in this one, which I'm a bit nervous about, but I think I'm going to have a good time nonetheless. This is such a guilty pleasure read for me, this series, and I'm excited to read the next installment, and that's all I have to say about that. So moving on to the next 2 reads. One of them I have been eyeing up for such a long time. I've been hearing amazing things about it, and it's a little bit out of my normal reading sphere. As you can probably guess, with literally pretty much every book that I've mentioned so far, I'm definitely a fantasy girly. I love a whimsical, cozy read. That's just me to a T. But this is an author that I've been wanting to read for ages, and that I've seen amazing reviews for her books, and I still think it's going to feel really cozy and inviting and fun, but it isn't a fantasy read, and that is Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. This, I believe, is a lit fic. It's also probably got quite a significant romance plot in this, which I'm looking forward to, and it's about a mother who goes with her 3 daughters to, I think, to a cabin? Oh no, a family orchard, and her daughters are begging her to tell them the story of when she had a romance with a film star many years before. And so this is just her mum retelling kind of stories from her past. It's a short read. I think it's going to be lovely. It just feels like it's going to be romantic and cozy and delightful, and I'm super excited to dive into this. And then lastly is, you guessed it, another cozy fantasy read set in a historical time period, and that is The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry by C.M. Waggoner. I think I showed you me picking this up in my previous video, so this one will not come as a shock to any of you, but essentially this is about a petty con artist called Delaria Wells. She is also just happens to be a witch. She ends up joining a team of unconventional women to protect an aristocrat who is under threat from assassins. Obviously, what could go wrong? There's a romance in here by the sounds of it. There's an animated mouse called Buttons. Again, say less. I'm already intrigued, and they kind of have to work their way through adversarial magic, and with the help of friendship and hopefully romance, they save the day. And yeah, I'm really excited to dive into that as well. And thus concludes my spring TBR, which I think is actually quite ambitious, just bearing in mind that I've already mentioned that there's 3 other big old books to include in this stack, 4 if you include Pride and Prejudice. So yes, I'm feeling ambitious. I'm sure I will add additional books to this pile as the months progress. That's just who I am, down to a T. But I'm excited and delighted to be reading so many good books in the upcoming months. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or if you're planning to read any of these books in the upcoming months, or if there are any particular books that you are looking forward to that you would recommend to other people for the springtime. I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings about books. If you haven't guessed, I love them. And I can see that as I've been talking, I seem to have summoned the sunshine back. So I think I'm going to quickly down the rest of my tea, and then I think we should go for a lovely spring walk and try and find some spring flowers. I know the snowdrops are all out at the moment. I'm hoping we might get to see some crocuses, maybe some daffodils. They just make me so happy when I see them. I think it's their bright yellow colour. So without further ado, I'm going to down my tea and then let's go on a lovely walk to the park. What a delightful, rejuvenating walk. I love going for little park walks. It's one of my great joys in life, one of my small but great joys in life. So I would highly encourage you going out and about if you can, and enjoying some of the sunshine, some of the spring weather, some of the spring flowers. It just has brought me so much joy. As you can see, we are currently in the spare room. And as I said in my last video, I was working on a few fun projects in here, and I would love to show you a couple of the completed ones because I am really proud of them. So the first is this gorgeous bed frame bedding that we've put on. Treated ourselves to a gorgeous little cushion, which is very William Morris inspired. And I love it, and I just think it makes the whole room look so nice and cozy. I've genuinely spent so much time in here just reading and cozying up. It's right next to the desk here, so I can kind of switch between editing. It's so comfy and cozy, and I love it. And you can see straight out the window, which I'm not going to show you for privacy reasons, but I am going to show you what is around the window, which is the completed little window painting that I did. I absolutely love how this turned out. I think when I finished the last video, I just completed these little bits and I was so in my head about the polka dots to the side. I genuinely thought they just looked like really horrendous pieces of blue tack, but I think it has come together so beautifully. So those are my little updates for the spare room. I'm absolutely thrilled with how this room is coming together, and it just makes me so excited to invite people round. If they want to stay, we've got a gorgeous room all ready for them, and when they're not here, it just means that I have the coziest little cave to snuggle up in, and I am absolutely obsessed. But enough about that. I want to talk you through the little crafty project that I have in mind to do this afternoon. So the craft that I have in mind for today is hopefully going to be incredibly simple. As I've previously stated, I am somewhat of a seasonal reader, and part of the reading experience for physical books is having a really lovely bookmark to use. So I have rescued these scraps of cartridge paper from when I was reframing something the other day, and I'm going to make a little springtime bookmark. And the inspiration that I have for the illustration that I want to do on it is very much inspired by little patchwork designs. I love quilts. Patchwork quilts are one of my little joys in life. I think they're so beautiful. I have never tried quilting. I would love to get into it at some point. Today we're going to be painting something that looks like a little patchwork quilt. So I've got my card here. I think I'm going to slice this a little bit down. We're going to go for about this height. And yeah, we're going to make a little cute bookmark to use throughout the season. So I'm going to pop some music on, I think, and we are going to get to painting. Da, 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 da. It's not fully finished yet. I'm gonna go in and do a little bit more detail work, but so far I'm so thrilled with how this is turning out. It makes me so happy to look at, and I love the color combinations. But as you can probably tell, the light is starting to fade. It is coming up towards the evening time now. That is something that I'm definitely looking forward to in spring, is the continuation of longer spells of daylight. I can't wait for it to be 7 p.m. and still light outside instead of 5 p.m. and getting very, very gloomy very quickly. So all that's left to say is thank you so much for spending this time with me here today. I really hope you've enjoyed the video and that you're feeling excited for spring to start as well. If this bookmark turns out well, I think I'm going to make it downloadable for you guys if you would like your own funky little bookmark to use this season. So there will be a link for this in the description box below if you'd like to go and download this, print it out, and we can have matching bookmarks for spring and summer. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, friends. Take care, and I will see you very soon in another video. Goodbye.